I think we can all agree that there are many types of coasters. There are dive coasters, there are wing coasters, and there's even whatever the heck this is. But sometimes a certain type of roller coaster model sticks out from the rest. And so today, I will be telling you guys my top 15 favorite roller coaster models. Oh, and by the way, in case some of you guys don't have time to watch this video, which I completely understand, I've included chapters in this video so you can skip to whichever part you'd like. Also, T-Rexes and Axis coasters won't be on this list due to none of them being made yet. But without wasting any more time, let's get into my top 15 favorite roller coaster models. Number 15, B&M dive coasters. B&M dive coasters are a simple concept. They hold you at the top of the hill before dropping you. These coasters are made so that you can stare down at the steep drop before it actually drops you down. And let me tell you, these coasters are pretty freaking fun. The adrenaline that you get while hanging there is insane. Also, they're pretty consistent and there's a lot of them. Some examples of B&M dive coasters would be Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger, Shikra, Griffin, Yukon Striker, and Valraven. Number 14, B&M Invert. Just like dive coasters, B&M inverts are very consistent. There are tons of them. From the Batman clones to Montu to Raptor, what is there not to like about this model? Also, these are way more intense than they seem. These focus on mostly inversions, and I'll tell you, these inversions are done to perfection. Some examples would be Montu, Raptor, Banshee, and Great Bear. Number 13, Gravity Group Woody. Gravity Group Woodies are made of wood. They have many coasters that deliver amazing and airtime-filled moments, but some of these coasters are known to deliver rough rides. Take Mind Blower, for example. This ride was known to deliver one of the roughest rides of any coaster in the country before it got retracked by RMC. So, if they're so rough, then why are they so high? Some Gravity Group Woodies include Zippin' Pippin, Hades 360, Mindblower, and Voyage. Number 12, GCI Woody. GCI Woodies tend to have very twisty layouts, and they are normally packed with airtime. They also have amazing pacing. They have some of the best wooden coasters to date. Some Woodies that they've made include Thunderhead, Gold Striker, Mystic Timbers, and El Toro. No, not this El Toro, that El Toro. Number 11, Intamin Accelerator Coaster. Intamin accelerators have some of the best, if not the best, launches of any coaster model out there. They hold the title of having some of the fastest coasters out there, and they even have the fastest roller coaster in the world. On the launch, you just sit there for a few seconds, and while you're sitting there, a bunch of compressed nitrogen builds up, and then it gets released during the launch, rocketing the train forward. But these coasters have gained a reputation to be unreliable, as these coasters break down all the time. Some examples include Top Thrill Dragster, King Dakar, Storm Runner, and Formula Rosa. Number 10, RMC Raptor Track Coasters. RMC Raptor Track coasters are not your normal coaster model. They only include one little rail of track, instead of the normal two you see on most coasters. This allows the train to do more compact elements. And come on, you can't tell me this doesn't look like a freaking Hot Wheel track. The only thing I can say about these rides is, number 1, if you ride it earlier in the day, it can kind of crawl through its layout, but later in the day, once it's warmed up, they're much faster. And number 2, once they are warmed up, the ride experience is very quick. So, overall great coasters, they just have short layouts. Some examples include Jersey Devil, Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, Railblazer, and Stunt Pilot. Number 9, Intamin Wing Coasters. There are only 2 of these models in the world, but those 2 coasters are some of the best. Those 2 coasters are Flying Aces and CoasterRush. I haven't been on an Intamin wing coaster yet, but apparently the restraints on these rides kinda suck. But if you can get past them, these rides can be some of the best in the world. The only thing preventing this model from being higher is the restraints, and there only being 2 of them. Number 8, RMC Topper Track Coasters. RMC Topper Tracks are different from the normal iBox track coasters because unlike iBoxes, RMC Toppers are classified as wooden coasters. They do provide more of a rough ride compared to iBoxes, but it's not bad and it doesn't take away from the ride experience. If anything, it adds to the experience. Some people say they like the feeling of the topper's roughness, but there aren't really too many of these coasters. All of the coasters in this model are lightning rod before its retrack. Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City, Goliath at Six Flags Great America, and Wildfire in Sweden. Number 7. Intamin Mega Coasters. Intamin Mega Coasters have a lot of variety. They could focus on things such as speed, as seen on Ride of Steel, or they could focus on airtime and inversions, as seen on Conda. Examples of Intamin Mega Coasters include Conda, Superman Ride of Steel, and Expedition G-Force. Number 6. Mach Extreme Spinner. It hurts me so much to put Mach Extreme Spinners this low on the list, and I haven't been on one, but from hearing what other people think of them, I already know that I will love it. The only thing from me putting these higher is that there are only 2 of them in the world. Once they start making more of these, if they're still making them just as good as the ones they've made so far, they will 100% go up in my rankings. The 2 Mach Extreme Spinners are Ride to Happiness and Time Traveler. Number 5. Intamin Giga Coaster. Just like the Mach Extreme Spinners, there are only 2 coasters of this model. This model even includes Millennium Force, which was the very first Giga Coaster in the whole world. These rides tend to focus more on speed than airtime and inversions. The 2 Intamin Giga Coasters are Millennium Force and Intimidator 305. Number 4. Intamin Prefab Coasters. Intamin Prefab Coasters have some of the most insane, if not the most insane, airtime of any coaster model out there. They have very unique layouts, and they focus mostly on airtime. But, like pretty much every coaster model out there, they have their issues. We haven't seen a single Intamin Prefab coaster built since 2008. So why did these stop getting built? Well, the answer is because they take a lot of maintenance and money to maintain. So most parks opt to build a different model that will be more reliable for their park. And a few years after their most recently built prefab in 2008, RMC came onto the scene with their new iBox track, before shortly making their new wooden coaster model, called the Topper Track, that can not only feature airtime, but also mini inversions, while also being a lot more reliable. There have only been 4 Intamin Prefab coasters built so far. Those coasters are Boulder, Colossus, T-Express, and El Toro. But before getting into my top 3 favorite coaster models, let me tell you real quick some models that didn't make the cut. Number 7. SNS 4D Coasters. These coasters have way too many clones, but they're so good rides, I guess. Number 6. Gertzlauer Infinity Coaster. As I said in my unpopular opinions video, I'm not the biggest fan of Gertzlauer, but they're still solid. Number 5. B&M Flying Coaster. I haven't ridden one yet, so I don't really know how much I'll like laying on my stomach, but I still think they would be fun. Number 4. B&M Sit Down Coaster. This ride has only 3 coasters in its model, but they still are really good. Number 3. Mach Launch Coaster. Good rides, but they can also be kinda lame. Number 2. B&M Wing Coaster. Doesn't provide the best forces, but makes you feel like you're about to hit something while also making you feel like you're flying. Number 1. B&M Surf Coaster. The only reason why these didn't make the list was because there's only 1 of them in the world. And not all parks have the money to do with the coaster like SeaWorld does, so they might not all be this good. Number 3. B&M Hyper and Giga Coasters. You may be wondering why I'm counting these both as one model, but I put both B&M Hyper and Giga Coasters in the same model because these models are pretty much the same besides the height. Like, look at Mako's restraints, and now look at Fury 325's restraints. Now look at Mako's layout, now look at Fury 325's layout. Yeah, they're like the same thing. B&M Hyper and Giga Coasters provide very high speeds, along with a lot of airtime moments. Unless the airtime hill doesn't get ruined by a trim brake, then you don't even get a single bit of floater. Some examples of B&M Hypers include Nitro, Mako, Candemonium, Apollo's Chariot, and Shambhala. Some B&M Giga Coasters include Leviathan, Fury 325, and Orion, depending on if you want to consider Orion a Giga or not. Number 2. Intamin Blitz. Some of you guys may be shocked how this is not number 1, but in my opinion, I just like my number 1 favorite model more. Spoiler alert. Intamin Blitzes, also known as Intamin LSM launch coasters, are very intense. They deliver launches that will pin you to the back of your seat, and will deliver some of the most discombobulating elements one after another. They can even include top hats, stangle dives, inversions, and even backward spikes. Some Intamin Blitzes include Maverick, Pantheon, Cheetah Hunt, Red Force, and Velocicoaster. Number 1. RMC iBox Track Coasters. To no one's surprise, after I put an Intamin Blitz at 2, RMC iBox coasters took my number 1 spot on the list. Literally, you can't find a bad or even rough RMC hybrid. This really made it the perfect model in my opinion. Like pretty much every model, it has its standout coasters, but unlike any other model, you can't find a single bad coaster of this model. Everything about these rides hit. The inversions hit, the camelbacks hit, the drops hit. You really won't find a single bad RMC hybrid, and that's why it's number 1. At this point, I don't even need to list you any RMC hybrids, but I'll do it anyway. Some RMC iBox coasters include Steel Vengeance, Zadra, Lightning Rod, Wildcat's Revenge, New Texas Giant, Harry Force 1, Twisted Colossus, Twisted Timbers, and so many more. Well, that will wrap up my top 15 favorite roller coaster models. In case you've been wondering where I've been over the last 3 weeks, well, this is why. Yeah, this video took forever to make. So, if you watched through the whole thing, be sure to comment below your list of your favorite coaster models. But that'll do it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Suber get trim braked.